Welcome everybody, my name is Chris Roth and I'm here in the Microsoft Studios with fellow Visio MVP Scott Helmers, who's here to show us about the new user interface in Visio 2010. It's quite a bit different, isn't it, Scott?
It really is, Chris, and the primary reason is because Visio 2010 is the first version of Visio to adopt the ribbon user interface that's common across the rest of the Microsoft Office suite. If you look at the screen when you first start Visio, what you see is the new page in the Backstage view, and that's what we're looking at. Across the top you see some recently used templates. In the center section you see categories of templates which will vary depending on which edition of Visio you happen to have. And don't ignore the buttons at the bottom in the Other Ways to Get Started section of the page, especially the Sample Diagrams button. If I click on that, you'll find 5 different ready-made drawings that can serve as both a learning aid for you as well as a good way to start a drawing if you want to create something similar to one of these 5 samples. There's also a help page that provides the kind of information you'd expect on a help page. The options button lets you configure Visio to behave in ways that you'd like, similar to the tools options or tools customized menu entries in previous versions of Visio. In my case, I'm going to go to the recent page and select a simple flowchart that I'm going to use to walk through the ribbon and the tabs on the ribbon in Visio 2010. The Home tab is where you'll probably spend most of your time when you're working with Visio drawings. It lets you adjust text sizes and colors, change paragraphs. There are the tools that we use, the connector tool, the text tool, various drawing tools on this drop-down for drawing rectangles, ellipses, and so forth. And you can align and position shapes and do a variety of other things, all on the Home tab. The Insert tab lets me do things like insert a picture. So for example, I've got a picture here that goes along with my flowchart. Move it off to the side a little bit. I'll come back and use that picture for another purpose in a moment, but you can see how easy it is to add a picture. Also on the Insert tab is something called a container. I'm going to select the shapes on the page and insert a container. Now this is an important new feature in Visio 2010 that's covered in much more detail in another video. I'm just going to randomly select a particular container type and notice it surrounds the shapes on the page. On the Design tab, we have a variety of ways to customize the appearance of this drawing, including a set of themes. There's a whole gallery of themes here. Notice the live preview, another very useful feature in Visio 2010. So I'll just click on a theme and I can apply it. I can add backgrounds and other information from this tab. On the Data tab, if you have Visio Professional or Premium, you'll find functions that allow you to link your drawing to external data sources, use data graphics, both important topics that are also covered elsewhere in this series. The Process tab is available in Visio Premium, and it allows you to create business process drawings of various sorts. We'll look at BPMN and some other business process type diagrams in another video later on as well. On the Review tab, you can spell check, add comments, and there's a very important button on the right end that allows you to produce reports. Yet again, another topic we'll cover in another part of the series. On the View tab, you can adjust the appearance of Visio. You can turn various user interface features on and off from this tab. The Developer tab only appears if you have turned it on, but it provides a rich assortment of advanced functions for more advanced Visio users. The Add-ins tab may appear if you have added other applications that connect to Visio to provide added value. In this particular case, you notice MapPoint from Microsoft is installed as an add-in. Now the tabs that I've just shown you appear all the time when you're running Visio, depending on which edition you have. There are 2 other kinds of tabs that can appear and will appear at various times. The first set of those are referred to as contextual tabs because they apply in a particular context. So for example, I'm going to go back to that graphic I dropped on the page and click on it. As soon as I do, you notice that a Picture Tools tab appears, and when I click on it, we see a variety of ways that we can alter the appearance of this picture. If I click on the container that I added earlier, a Container Tools tab appears. When I click on it, we see a variety of ways to tailor the appearance and the behavior of the container. If I click on the page background, notice that those contextual tabs go away. So they're only there in a specific context. The third type of tab is called an add-in tab. These tabs appear because they relate to the functions and provide a set of functions for a specific application that's added into Visio. Some of those come with Visio, so if I click on File, New, and go to the Business category, for example, I can start an organization chart. When I do, there's an Org Chart tab that appears that contains functions specific to org charts. And similarly, one last quick example, if I go to the flowchart category and create a cross-functional flowchart, also known as a swim lane diagram, we see the cross-functional flowchart tab.
Now, Scott, I like the visual look of this new ribbon. It seems cleaner than all the toolbar buttons from days gone by. But I used Visio for years and years and years and really got used to my menu items and my keyboard shortcuts. So what do people do when they're coming to Visio 2010?
The good news, Chris, is that nearly all of those keyboard shortcuts that you know and love from previous versions of Visio are still here in Visio 2010. So you'll notice if I press and hold the Alt key, there are letters that appear that identify each of the tabs on the ribbon. So if I then press the letter N, for example, which is the one for the Insert tab, now there's an additional set of letters that appear that allow me to access each of the functions on that tab, again, just using the keyboard shortcuts. And finally, if you do want some help, there's help available on the website. Go to visio.microsoft.com, hover over Getting Started, click How To, and that will bring you to this page. The very first How To is a download of an interactive guide to the ribbon. So that will help you in figuring and navigating your way from older style menus to the newer style ribbon in Visio 2010.
So you just click on the old menu items and it tells you the new menu items or ribbon buttons to use.
That's right, it's that easy.
Well, great. Thanks a lot, Scott. It's Visio 2010, the backstage area, the ribbon, user interface, and how to get there from previous versions. Thank you, everybody.